I was the kid who was watching Attenborough specials and couldn't wait to go to the History Museum. There are flint knives that are a couple of million years old. As long as we've been making tools, this is one of the first that we made, other than what, a stone hammer. Our tools are a reflection of who we are as a culture. It's kind of a deeper connection to humanity as a tool that drew me in. I started kind of getting this idea, maybe I can make one of those. People have been making these things for, what, 3 million years? That can't be the hardest thing in the world, right? It's, you know, not the easiest thing in the world either, but that was kind of what got me onto it. This is my shop. Basically, everything I produce right here. Each time I start a project, there's kind of a new feel to it. There's something about it that's going to be a little bit different. There's something about it that's going to speak to someone. Every knife is a combination of material and design, and so the geometry is a key component to the design. How much material do you need to remove to get that knife to be as efficient as it can be for its intended purpose? Getting it to where it's going to make that cut the way that it should, and then, you know, last, you know, years and years and years. Anyone who makes tools, right, functional tools, there's a blend between this is aesthetically a reflection of either me or the person who's commissioned this piece, but also it's functional. And I think that artisanry is the melding of those two things. You have the functional, the utility of that craft, and then you're trying to meld that with art that says something about the culture that you're in. A huge part of the process is dialing in the amount of heat. Fire is an important part of that. It's an integral part of that. When I fire up the forge and I kind of stare into that, you have to kind of be here in this moment. It's a violent process to shape, to bang on those with a hammer and an anvil. That raw material can kind of be imbued with the life of that tool, forcing that material to go where you want it to go. But in the end, no matter what you've done beforehand, if you don't get the proper quench, it can't be a knife at all. That steel needs to go from this big open crystalline structure where boom, everything slams down. Carbon is just dropping into this iron matrix, and then that's what makes it really rigid. If you don't do it right, then you're going to end up with something that either isn't fully the same crystalline structure, which is important for durability, or something that just didn't quench at all, something that's just not hard, it's soft. For me, the more I understand, the more I feel connected to that tool. The more I can dive into the material science. Why is this steel going to be treated this way versus this steel going to be treated this way? And that all is what makes me feel more connected to it. I want to care about that thing. I want to feel invested in it. You know, it's not someone else's recipe. This is my recipe. Material choice is an important part of it, just looking at what's its functional purpose. And then there's the aesthetic piece that, okay, it's gonna have to have a handle, so it may as well make it beautiful. May as well use a material that's worth passing down for 80 years. Could be, you know, a piece of spalted maple that was in their grandfather's farm for like 200 years. Now I've made a knife that they can pass down for another however many 100 years or something. And standing back and looking at it, it's like, yeah, that's really when it comes together. Part of the fun of the handle process is figuring out what's the right set of finishing steps to make this particular material just really stand out. It's really just about bringing the natural beauty out of that material. had my grandfather's old oil stones, and that was the tool that I had. And it was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna learn with this tool, then I'm gonna have to learn this way. I'm sure there are other tools that are a little bit faster, but I like it. It's kind of zen-like for me. It's a repetitive motion. Sharpening is kind of the final step of geometry setting, is putting an edge on it. I can feel when I'm writing on, the bevel at the right angle. The sound of each stone is different. For whatever reason, over the years, that just became an important part of it for me, another way for me to kind of connect with that tool. And it's when you find out, full stop, once it's sharpened, now you can see how efficient your tool is gonna be. And then the first time you cut through something, it's just like, feels great. Every one I finish, there's a finality to it. Like, I did that thing. That's out in the world now. Somebody's making new memories with that. Somebody's doing something awesome with that. Now it's gonna be this just locked in time, this little bit of this life just like locked in time forever. Artisan work is a really cool opportunity. Building something functional and also making something beautiful that has worth to someone. Can't beat that.